Have you been tuning wrong this whole time? That's what I wanted to answer today. For some reason, I've always just thought, why do we tune up to pitch and not down? At least in my experience. Maybe you do it a different way, and please let me know if you do. Before we start this, it's not gonna be the most scientific experiment or anything like that. I'm just going to tune up to pitch, all 6 strings, and then I'm gonna play for 5 minutes exactly, stopwatch going, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just gonna play basic chords, a nice, not too hard, not too soft, just how I would normally play any song. After that, I'm gonna retune, and I'm gonna tune by loosening the string to pitch and see how the tuning stability at the end of both of those compares. Of course, there's different guitars, there's different brands, there's different materials, all that kind of stuff. What I'm gonna be using for today is my PRS 2408. I have it set up correctly. I have the bridge at the right height, all that kind of stuff. Fresh-ish strings. I didn't wanna do brand new strings because those fall out of tune really quick. So these strings are about a week old. Also, temperature in the room will remain the same. So I'd like for you to leave a comment before we start. 1, telling me whether you tune up to pitch or down to pitch, and 2, telling me if you think it even matters or which tuning is better and why. So please leave a comment and let's get to the video. Okay, so let's tune it up. The way that I personally have always been tuning is by tuning up to pitch. So let's start with that one, and I'd love to be surprised at the very end if I've been doing it wrong the whole time. Also, a small explanation of how this tuner works. It's a strobe tuner, so you see the circle on the edge. If I make it flat, that really starts spinning down, that means flat. If I tune up, it makes it sharp. So the goal of the tuner is to keep it as slow moving as possible. Here's what the first chord sounds like. All right, so I'm gonna check the tuning at the end of the 5 minutes, and we'll see how much it has gone either sharp or flat. Most likely flat. Here we go.
One eternity later.
All right, so that's 5 minutes. So let me play a clean and dirty sound just so you can hear how the chords sound all together right after the first tuning. Here we go. So pretty in tune. Here's a cleaner sound. Here's a dirty sound. There's that high E string, maybe just a little out of tune. But it's pretty close. Keeping the guitar at not even touching the neck so it's not bending or anything like that. About the same on the low E. A string looks great. D is a little sharp. G is a little sharp. B is a little sharp. But that's pretty on, that's pretty close. And the E is flat. So as I said, we're not getting too scientific, but I need to talk about the 2 different styles of bridges. There's a whole bunch of different brands, different ways to do it, but essentially we can boil it down to just 2. So the first one is a floating bridge. That means there are springs on the back side of the guitar, and that makes it so you can use a whammy bar, all that kind of stuff. And whenever you push down, the springs are gonna pull it right back up to pitch, hopefully. A lot of other guitars really don't do, even this one kind of falls out of tune here and there. But a lot of guitars don't stay in tune that well when you use the whammy bar a bunch. Just nice little subtle movements is great. So what we saw happening is that when the E string is probably flat, it's pulling the other strings tighter to compensate for the springs. So that's what I think is happening on that first example. Now the other type of bridge would be a Telecaster bridge or a fixed bridge, and I clearly don't have that, but that means that the bridge is fixed to the body and it's not going anywhere. So the only string kind of pitch or anything that's gonna happen is gonna happen at the nut, compared to a floating bridge that could happen with it moving, with the springs getting colder, hotter. Just there's so many different variables. Mostly everybody has a floating bridge Stratocaster style or a Telecaster fixed bridge guitar. So now let's tune down to pitch. So we're gonna come from the top of the note and go down. Now already doing this feels so weird. Or maybe I could make just easier movements. So this one I'm gonna go up top and then come right back down. Okay, let's do it, 5 minutes.
Eventually.
Okay, so that is 5 minutes by tuning down to pitch. Here's what the chords sound like at the very end. Here's a cleaner sound. Scannier sound. So the low E is pretty good. A is good. D is a little sharp. G is okay, a little flat. B is a little flat. And E is a little flat. So the results of this video were interesting to me. Reason being, tuning down seemed to give a more stable tuning, and I really like that. But the problem is that that took me about 5 to 10 minutes longer to tune down, tune up to pitch. So in that case, I'm still gonna tune up to pitch. Just because the muscle memory is there, it takes me about 30 seconds to get my guitar in tune. And in addition, I'm not just tuning at the end of a song when I play out live or whatever. I'm tuning in the middle. Anytime I get a break, I'm always tuning. So most of the time I'm in tune enough, and just for the speed, I'm always gonna tune up. So I'm interested to know what you thought about this. Have you always tuned up to pitch, or have you tuned down? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.